What if everything you thought you knew about Little People, Big World, was only half the story? What if behind the smiling faces, family moments, and the peaceful charm of Roloff Farms, there's a hidden financial storm quietly building, one that could change everything fans have followed for years? Today, we're stepping into one of the most talked about and controversial claims surrounding the Roloff family yet. Secret payouts, a rumored $5 million farm deal, and growing questions that could put TLC itself under serious pressure. Is this just another internet rumor fueled by speculation? Or is there something much bigger happening behind the scenes, something viewers were never meant to see? Because if even part of this story turns out to be true, it doesn't just change how we look at the show. It could mean the beginning of the end for Little People, Big World as we know it. Welcome back. Today's video isn't just another update. It's a deep dive into a story that has fans talking, questioning, and in some cases, genuinely concerned about what's really going on behind the scenes. For years, Little People, Big World has been built on a foundation of family, trust, and legacy. The farm wasn't just land. It symbolized everything the Roloffs worked for. Viewers watched relationships grow, fall apart, and evolve over time, believing they were seeing the full picture. But recently, that picture has started to feel incomplete. Because whispers, quiet at first, but now getting louder, suggest that something far more complicated may have been happening behind closed doors. And at the center of it all, Caryn Chandler. From being a familiar and trusted presence on the farm to becoming a central figure in Matt Roloff's personal life, Caryn's role has clearly grown over the years. To many fans, her transition seemed natural. But now, others are starting to ask a very different question. Was there more going on behind the scenes than anyone realized? We're not just talking about simple disagreements or family tension. We're talking about alleged financial decisions, rumored behind-the-scenes arrangements, and a farm deal that, if these claims are even partially true, might not be as straightforward as it once appeared. And that's where things take a serious turn. Because if there were undisclosed agreements, if money changed hands in ways viewers weren't aware of, or if key details were kept off camera, then this isn't just reality TV drama anymore. This becomes something much bigger. Something that could impact not just the family, but the credibility of TLC itself. And let's be clear, right now, these are still claims, theories, and fan-driven speculation. Nothing has been officially confirmed, but the questions being raised are serious enough that they can't just be ignored. So in today's video, we're going to break everything down, step by step. What exactly are these allegations? Where did they come from? And why are so many fans suddenly convinced that there's more to this story than what we've been shown? Because sometimes, the biggest reality TV drama isn't what happens on screen. It's what happens when the cameras stop rolling. To really understand what's happening now, we have to go back to the foundation of it all, the farm itself. For years, the land featured on Little People, Big World wasn't just a filming location. It was the emotional center of the entire story. What viewers saw wasn't just a business. It was a living, breathing symbol of family identity, built over decades by Matt Roloff and Amy Roloff. This farm represented more than crops, pumpkin seasons, or tourist visits. It represented sacrifice, long days, financial risks, and a shared dream that one day this legacy would be passed down to the next generation. Fans watched the children grow up, especially Zach Roloff and his siblings, believing that eventually one of them would take over. It felt like a natural progression, almost inevitable. But behind the scenes, reality was far more complicated. As the years went on, conversations about ownership started to shift. What once seemed like a clear path forward became filled with uncertainty. Negotiations weren't simple anymore. They became layered, emotional, and at times, deeply personal. And that's when the cracks began to show. The idea of keeping it in the family started clashing with business realities. Valuations, expectations, and differing visions for the future all came into play. What one person saw as fair, another may have seen as unrealistic. And when those perspectives didn't align, tensions slowly began to build. For viewers, it unfolded gradually. A disagreement here, a difficult conversation there. But over time, those small moments added up to something much bigger. Because this wasn't just about land anymore. It was about trust. It was about communication. And perhaps most importantly, it was about whether everyone involved truly had the same understanding of what was happening behind closed doors. Some fans now believe that during those critical negotiations, not everything was as transparent as it seemed. That certain decisions may have been made quietly, without full clarity or agreement from everyone involved. And if that's true, it would explain a lot. Why relationships became strained. Why expectations were shattered. And why something that once symbolized unity slowly became the center of division. Because when a legacy like this starts to shift, not everyone sees it happening at the same time. And by the time they do, it might already be too late. Now we move into the part of the story that has truly captured attention, the alleged secret payouts. This is where speculation begins to turn into serious concern, and where fans of Little People, Big World find themselves asking deeper questions than ever before. Over the past few months, online discussions have grown louder, with viewers analyzing past episodes, interviews, and even social media activity. The focus, whether there were financial dealings tied to the farm that were never fully revealed to the public. At the center of these conversations is Matt Roloff, the longtime owner of the farm and a key figure in every major decision involving the property. As the person in control of the land, any large financial movement, especially one involving partial sales or negotiations, would likely have gone through him. Fans have started to question whether certain negotiations may have included private agreements or undisclosed compensation. These wouldn't necessarily be illegal, but if they were not openly discussed, they could still create a sense of secrecy that clashes with the transparent, family-focused image the show has built over the years. And that's where the idea of secret payouts becomes so powerful. Because it's not just about money, it's about perception. If there were indeed financial arrangements that happened behind closed doors, it raises several important questions. Who was aware of these decisions at the time? Were other family members, like Zach Roloff or Amy Roloff, fully informed? Or were some details kept limited to a smaller circle? This uncertainty has led many fans to revisit key moments from the show, especially the negotiations surrounding the farm. Some now believe that what appeared on screen may not have told the full story. And if that's the case, it introduces a new layer to everything viewers thought they understood. Another major point of discussion is whether these alleged payouts, if they existed, were part of formal, documented agreements or something handled more informally. In family-run businesses, it's not uncommon for deals to happen without full public disclosure. But when that business is also the centerpiece of a long-running reality show, expectations change. Viewers expect clarity, they expect honesty, and most importantly, they expect consistency between what they see and what actually happens. The moment that alignment is questioned, trust begins to weaken. For years, Little People, Big World has been built on authenticity. Fans didn't just watch for entertainment. They watched because they felt connected to the family's journey. They believed they were seeing real decisions, real emotions, and real consequences. So when rumors like this start to circulate, it doesn't just spark curiosity, it creates doubt. And doubt, especially in a show rooted in family values, can be incredibly damaging. Of course, it's important to emphasize that these claims remain unverified. No official confirmation has been made about any secret payouts. But the fact that so many people are asking the same questions suggests that something, at the very least, feels unclear to the audience. And in today's media landscape, perception can be just as powerful as reality. If viewers begin to believe that key details were hidden, or that financial decisions were not fully transparent. It could reshape how they interpret past events. Moments that once seemed straightforward might now feel more complicated. Conversations that appeared honest might now seem incomplete. This is why the topic has gained so much momentum. Because at its core, it challenges the foundation of trust between the show and its audience. And once that trust is questioned, everything else, from family dynamics to business decisions, starts to look different. As this story continues to develop, one thing is certain: fans are paying closer attention than ever before. And whether these allegations turn out to be true or not, the conversation they've started is already having a lasting impact. Now let's focus on the number that's been dominating conversations: $5 million. For many fans of Little People, Big World, this figure isn't just a price tag. It represents something much bigger. It's the estimated value tied to a portion of Roloff Farms, a place that has been at the center of the show's story for years. But here, where things start to get complicated. The controversy isn't simply about whether $5 million is too high or too low. It's about how that number came to be, and whether the process behind it was as fair and transparent as fans expected. When a property holds not just financial value, but decades of family history, memories, and expectations, putting a price on it becomes incredibly sensitive. Many viewers have raised questions about the valuation itself. Was the farm assessed purely based on market conditions, or were there emotional factors that made it worth more to certain family members? In situations like this, the line between business and personal life can quickly blur. Then there's the issue of negotiations. Some fans believe that the discussions surrounding the deal may not have been evenly balanced. In any high-value transaction, especially one involving family, power dynamics can play a major role. Who had the final say? Who had access to the full details? And were all parties given a fair opportunity to be part of the decision? These questions have only intensified speculation. Another layer to this controversy is the idea of outside influence. Some viewers have wondered whether external advisors, financial pressures, or even production-related considerations may have impacted how the deal unfolded. While there's no confirmed evidence pointing to any wrongdoing, the mere possibility has been enough to keep discussions alive across social media. And that brings us to the emotional weight of the situation. For years, fans watched members of the Roloff family grow up with the understanding that the farm might stay within the family for future generations. That expectation became part of the show's narrative. So when a multi-million-dollar deal enters the picture, it doesn't just feel like a business move. It feels like a turning point. A shift. A moment where reality collides with long-held assumptions. Because when large sums of money are involved, even the smallest decisions can carry massive consequences. A single agreement, a missed conversation, or a misunderstood intention can lead to lasting tension, especially when family relationships are already complex. At the end of the day, the $5 million figure is more than just a number. It's a symbol of everything at stake: financial security, personal legacy, and the future of something that meant so much to so many people. And as this story continues to unfold, one thing is clear: the questions surrounding the deal aren't going away anytime soon. As the pressure continues to build, the spotlight isn't just on the family anymore. It's now firmly on the network itself. TLC has spent years shaping Little People, Big World into one of its most recognizable and long-running shows. It's not just entertainment. It's a brand built on authenticity, emotional connection, and the idea that viewers are getting a real, unfiltered look into a family's life. But that's exactly why this situation feels so critical. When a show is built on reality, even the smallest hint of behind-the-scenes manipulation or undisclosed details can start to shake viewer confidence. Fans begin to ask deeper questions. They revisit past episodes. They analyze conversations, decisions, and storylines with a more skeptical lens. And once that trust begins to crack, it's very difficult to restore. For TLC, this creates a balancing act. On one hand, they have a responsibility to protect the integrity of their programming. On the other hand, they also have to manage public perception carefully. Ignoring the situation could make it seem like they're avoiding accountability, but addressing it too directly could draw even more attention to the controversy. And this isn't the first time a reality TV network has faced this kind of challenge. Historically, when controversies grow too large, networks have taken a range of actions, from issuing statements, to editing future episodes differently, to even pausing or ending shows altogether. These decisions are rarely made lightly, but they often come down to one key factor: audience trust. If viewers begin to feel that the story they've invested in isn't entirely genuine, engagement drops. Ratings can decline. Social media sentiment shifts. And in today's digital age, that shift can happen very quickly. Another layer to this situation is the emotional investment fans have in the Roloff family. This isn't just a show people watch casually. Many viewers feel like they've grown up alongside this family. They've celebrated milestones, witnessed conflicts, and formed strong opinions about each member. So when controversy enters the picture, it doesn't feel distant, it feels personal. That emotional connection can amplify reactions. Some fans may defend the family and the show, believing that speculation is being blown out of proportion. Others may feel disappointed or even betrayed, especially if they believe important details were kept hidden. For TLC, both reactions matter. Because whether viewers are defending or criticizing, the conversation itself keeps growing. And the longer it continues without clarity, the more pressure builds on the network to respond in some way. There's also the question of long-term impact. Even if the situation doesn't lead to immediate consequences, it could influence how future seasons are received. Viewers might watch more critically. They might question storylines that once felt genuine. And that shift in perspective can subtly change the entire viewing experience. So could this situation actually put the future of LPBW at risk? The honest answer is, it depends on how things unfold from here. If the controversy fades and no concrete evidence supports the speculation, the show could continue largely unaffected. But if new information emerges, or if public skepticism continues to grow, TLC may be forced to make some difficult decisions about the direction of the series. At the center of it all is one simple truth: reality TV survives on trust. And right now, that trust is being tested. Fans have not stayed silent. Across social media platforms, the conversation has taken on a life of its own. From comment sections to discussion threads, viewers are actively sharing their thoughts, theories, and concerns. What started as a few scattered reactions has now grown into a much larger wave of speculation. Some viewers feel genuinely shocked by the claims being discussed. For longtime followers, this situation feels completely unexpected. They've spent years watching what seemed like a close-knit family navigating life together, and now, those familiar dynamics are being questioned. Others are expressing disappointment. Not necessarily because they believe everything being said, but because even the possibility of behind-the-scenes issues is enough to change how they view the show. When a series builds its identity around authenticity and trust, even rumors can leave a lasting impact. At the same time, many fans are simply confused. They're trying to separate fact from speculation, but with so many voices online, it's becoming increasingly difficult to know what's real and what isn't. Different interpretations, conflicting opinions, and incomplete information are all blending together, creating a sense of uncertainty. Of course, not everyone is convinced. There are viewers who believe these claims are being exaggerated or taken out of context. They argue that reality television has always involved editing, selective storytelling, and dramatization. From their perspective, this could just be another case of online discussions spiraling beyond the actual facts. But on the other side, there are fans who feel that something doesn't quite add up. They point at past moments, decisions, or tensions that now seem different in hindsight. For these viewers, the current situation isn't just about rumors. It's about connecting dots they believe were always there, just not fully understood at the time. This divide in reactions is significant. It highlights just how deeply invested people are in this story. For many viewers, this isn't just another show they watch casually. It's something they've followed for years, watching relationships evolve, challenges unfold, and milestones happen in real time. That level of emotional connection makes situations like this feel personal. When fans begin to question what they've seen, it can shift their entire perspective. Moments that once felt genuine may now be viewed with skepticism. And that shift, even if subtle at first, can grow over time. Another important factor is how quickly speculation spreads. In today's digital world, a single post or theory can reach thousands, sometimes millions, of people within hours. As more people join the conversation, the narrative can change rapidly, often moving faster than verified information. And with that speed comes amplification. The more a topic is discussed, the more visible it becomes. Algorithms push trending conversations forward, meaning even casual viewers are being exposed to these discussions, whether they were initially following the story or not. This creates a feedback loop. More attention leads to more discussion. More discussion leads to more speculation. And before long, the story grows far beyond its original scope. What makes this situation even more complex is the emotional element behind it. Fans aren't just reacting to information, they're reacting to what that information represents. Trust, authenticity, and connection are all at the center of this. When those elements feel uncertain, the reaction becomes stronger. And right now, that's exactly what we're seeing. A community divided between belief and skepticism, between loyalty and doubt, between wanting answers and not knowing where to find them. As the speculation continues to grow, one thing is clear. This story is no longer just about what may or may not have happened behind the scenes. It's about how fans perceive it. Because in the world of reality television, perception can be just as powerful as reality itself. And once that perception begins to shift, it's very hard to turn it back. At the end of the day, what we're looking at is a situation filled with questions, speculation, and a lot of uncertainty. Are these claims about secret payouts and a $5 million farm deal completely accurate? Or are they being misunderstood, exaggerated, and amplified through online discussions and fan theories? Right now, the truth isn't fully clear. There are still more questions than answers, and that's exactly what's keeping this story alive. But one thing we can say for sure, this situation has captured attention for a reason. Because when you combine family, money, and legacy, especially something as meaningful as the farm, it's never just business. It becomes personal. Emotions get involved, and things can quickly become complicated. No matter how this unfolds, the outcome could have a lasting impact, not just on the people directly involved, but also on how